My name is Brandon Turner. I'm a professional skateboarder, skate mafia, and I'm the owner of a medical facility, Westside Recovery. When I was 2 years old, sidewalk sound, clack, 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 clack. Climb up onto this chair by my parents' door and unlock the top lock and run out there to see what it was. So every day I'd hear that sound come down the street and I'd like run outside in my diaper, you know what I mean? Parents after a while would like bring me outside to like watch it go by, and one day he stopped and put me on the front of his board and like took me down the sidewalk, and I was just like, it was over with from then, and then I knew. Getting taken to school by my parents, and we go by the 7-Eleven, and there was like a Mervyn's parking lot with a bunch of red curbs. I would hear that same sound, you know what I mean? And then one day, 7-Eleven, I ran across the street because there was a wall blocking it. And I just seen all these skaters like slapping like the red curbs, doing manuals, and I was like, this is where they go. My uncle got me like a He-Man board with like a tail scraper. I finally just skated down to where they skate at, like guys like Peter Smolk were there, and that's when I started socializing. Peter Smolk, you know, and I skated to his house one day. I found out where he lived and asked him if he'd skate with me, and he made me sit on the curb for like all day. He would like make me do stuff, and I would just do it. I like jumping down stuff and then ride down 5 stairs because I didn't even know how to ollie yet. And Ken Russell and them were starting a company called Voice Skateboards, and right away they put me on as an amateur. And we went on some trips and tours and started filming some videos and stuff. So I got a taste of like what going on skate trips looks like. At an early age, I got to see what the real grind and hard work looks like. It wasn't just like I got sponsored and everything's taken care of me. And then when I was like 15, then I got on shorties and all good. I didn't have to do anything. Do I think that I was exposed to things that I shouldn't have been? Yes and no. Yeah, I should have. That was my path, and it was an amazing time. I got to grow up fast. I don't regret that. I got to travel the world. I got to get catered to and got free product and made lots of money and got to do what I wanted to do for a living. And you know, when you have a dream of what you want to do and it gets granted, you can't really put stipulations on your environment. Partying and being successful in skating, things are different now. When in the 90s, when I was coming up skating, that was like marketed. You know, like just being like kind of carefree, and that's what skaters are. We do what we want because what we love. You know, everyone's against us, kicking us out of spots and everything, and we're drinking, smoking, enjoying life. So you put the marketing aspect on it too. It got a little out of hand a lot of the times, you know, but it was still experience, and I'm glad, you know, nobody got hurt someone did get hurt. I hurt myself. So that's part of the game, especially in those times. That's just what it was. You know, I was running from the cops, partying when I was 17, broke my right leg off a 50-foot bridge, and then a year later from that, I was outside of a party giving directions and woke up in the hospital out of coma. You know, I shattered this leg, shattered my skull, broke some bones and stuff. But that's not even from skateboarding. That's just as a result of me partying too hard and not being aware of my surroundings. The injuries I have got skating, you know, I've sprained my ankles. I broke my patella, my knee at a Slam City Jam in Canada, but I was wasted too. So, you know, I blame it on the rail wasn't waxed. How I used to get by when I'd get injured before is I would just party more. You know, I'm like, well, I'm gonna be rolling around with the homies, going to spots, just drinking and smoking and stuff, until I realized that if you're gonna be drinking when you're trying to heal, it's gonna slow down your process of healing, and plus your human cells ain't gonna generate as good as they would if you didn't have like the alcohol in your systems. After I realized that, I looked more at like the healing aspect, like I need to start eating better. I need to heal myself and do everything I can so I can be 100% again. You have friends who have different lives, and if you're a professional skateboarder and you're isolated like that, and people are like, I gotta work, I can't just like chill. How I navigate that is I just surround myself with people who are doing positive stuff that can go towards my skateboarding. I'd go towards that, like physical therapy, working out, doing yoga or Pilates, and just getting more strength from within. Self-care, just having all those things, so you're kind of like laying out a program for yourself so you don't have the time to just be living in your head, and that can lead to anxiety or depression. Drinking too much, because there's always people at the bar. And I've been there too. I felt alone and just, go to the bar. I always have friends at the bar. If you don't have any friends, you're gonna make some friends. And at the same time, I don't be trying to be too preachy to people, but the fact of the matter is alcohol is a depressant. If you're not feeling good inside, find another way to get those healthy release of endorphins. And if you're hurt from skating and you can't get that, because that's what skateboarders' outlet is those high release of endorphins through skating, and your friends are working and you're injured, like the bar isn't your only option. You can do other stuff too. So many communities and people with healthy living, you can immerse yourself in other communities. Nobody could say anything to me that can make me change my own mind. It had to be my decision. It's not sustainable. It's really hard when you're in that position, because someone talking to you like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, and they're like, oh, that's easy for you to say. You're not sitting here with a broken leg. Like, you don't know what I'm going through. Talk to someone who maybe have went through the same circumstances you did. I was tired of waking up feeling like shit. For one, every bad thing that's happened ever in my life, like alcohol was there. One night I was just like, I need to take this seriously, and because I can never imagine myself like never drinking again. I'm like, oh, I probably need to cut off or a little here and there, and I'm like, But why? I'm like, I've done this all my life. I know what it is. I just need to switch like my life, make myself happy, and actually be more of like service. I want to help people. That's my purpose. So that's not possible with the alcohol there. When I stopped drinking, I believe anything's possible. The mind can heal the body. It's just your perception of how you look at things in your individual situation. My biggest mental struggle was when I was in solitary confinement, and it was intensively for 1 month, but it was really 4 months. When I had to live in a cell, I had to really dive into like reading and meditation, and everyone thinks the program's a place, and I tell everybody like, no, the program is your mind. This is your CPU. And that's when I first got a taste of what programming looks like. Eating, sleeping, exercising, reading, meditating, and doing that on a schedule, consistent basis. If you have access to so many things, you can lay out a program for yourself however you see fit. A couple years I planned out of how I wanted to help people struggling with like substance abuse and mental health, and especially skateboarders, because if you'd have told me that a while ago, I'd have been like, oh, get up out of here. And I don't have a problem. Like, why aren't you skating? That was the only thing. And get your shit together, For like 2 years, I had a plan to develop a program that can help people like us who can relate. So I wanted to really give back to skateboarding, because skateboarding's done so much for me. We got the MHC Mental Health Center of San Diego, and that's mental health primary. One of the first facilities with tracks for each different diagnosis, so not everybody with mental health is just in the same spot. We have tracks for each different diagnosis. Our new program dialed to like skateboarders, artists, musicians, be in a space where they can relate to people in everyday life that kind of live our lifestyle. What I would say to my younger self when I was hard-headed and I didn't want to listen to, you're not alone. There's plenty of people out there going through their struggles. They might not be exactly the same as yours, but there's definitely people who can relate with you and you could feel like in a safe space, and then there's help and people like you who've lived your type of life and who will understand and not judge you. Talk to friends and just start talking about it. Talk with the most responsible person you know and talk to them. Opening up and trying to talk about it to somebody, I don't care if it's a stranger on the street. If you don't want to talk to your friends about it, just talk to somebody. Do everything you can to get the resources you need. You can tell when somebody's going through some shit, and some people are just like, oh, I don't want to overstep the boundaries, but just start talking. You could probably learn some things about yourself too, because sometimes I'll see some people struggling and we'll just end up talking. I'm like helping them, but at the same time I'm realizing some stuff about myself too. If you love and care for your friends, don't be scared about it. Like, I'll ask somebody real quick, like, hey, are you suicidal? Like, and I'll tell them, like, I've been there. Anybody struggling, it's probably crossed the mind somewhere. This is my life's journey, is just to, help people, and hopefully through my own experiences, through some of the resources, we've accumulated. You struggling with substance abuse or mental health issues, weakness, because it's not. You talking about it is strength. And you be helping a hell of a lot of people, even if you're the one struggling, just by talking about it.